This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. What I'm going to talk to you about today is something which we have been telling you for decades, almost like for over a century, and now it's becoming reality. Politicians are demanding what we have told you will happen, because we knew this based on our understanding of biblical prophecy. I'm talking about the relationship between the United States of America and especially Europe. A relationship which was once one of friendship and partnership, which has now been completely and totally destroyed. I'm not even talking about tariffs. I'm not talking about the situation regarding Ukraine. I'm not talking about Greenland and other interesting developments. I'm talking about the fact that the trust of Europe in America is gone. Completely and totally and utterly gone. I'm going to give you a few examples now, and then I will tell you what politicians are saying in Europe, reflecting what we have been telling you will happen all along. Here's an article by Deutsche Welle dated March 7 saying, Trump has been back in office for only 6 weeks and has already been calling into question core policies, which is having a massive impact on how Germans view Trump and the United States. 1 in 2 respondents to a poll say their opinion of Trump has worsened since he took office. The United States' reputation is plummeting to new lows, and it has never been that great to begin with when it comes to Germany. It says 3/4 believes that NATO members cannot currently rely on the United States for protection. 1 in 2 said they favor establishing a European military alliance. And we have been telling you this all along. Europe will have a very strong and powerful army. It goes on to say in DNA India, dated March 7, analysts believe the European Union may raise a common EU force or the EU army. All the European nations put together have more than 2 million men and women in uniform, and they spend a whooping amount of $338 billion for their militaries. Coming back to Ukraine, if the US and Turkey oppose any move to send NATO forces to the war-torn country, the European nations may send their troops. It may lay the foundation stone of an EU army or European army. Wouldn't that be something, that interesting situation there with Russia, Ukraine? And of course Ukraine has now agreed to a ceasefire, but we are waiting for Russia's response. You see, would it be something if the EU would be motivated to establish an army to move into Ukraine or defend against Russia, or as I have just heard, somebody said, the United States. Daily Mail wrote on March 3, the continent is also coming to terms with a brutal reality, that it might not be able to rely on America for its security anymore. Trump previously told reporters that he doubted the value of spending money on NATO. Trump advisor Elon Musk has outright called for the US to leave NATO. The Telegraph wrote on March 1, end of NATO alliance days away, warns former Commander Admiral James Stavridis. Wavering US support for the defense bloc may open the door to a new European treaty organization, he said. And the Telegraph also wrote on March 8, the United States has told its allies that it does not plan to participate in military exercises in Europe beyond 2025. The Telegraph also reported that Mr. Trump is also considering pulling US troops out of Germany. He is understood to be weighing up withdrawing some 35,000 active personnel. And then We find the following in the Financial Post, dated March 1. The scene showed, and this is talking about this clash in the Oval Office between Trump and Zelensky, and by the way, the Europeans have almost uniformly and unanimously said that it was Trump's and Vance's fault. It says the scene showed the trust and values that have bound Europe and the United States together since the end of World War II were no longer shared. President Trump and his administration raised a more fundamental challenge to the transatlantic alliance than it has faced in many decades. Now, this leads me to the most recent development, showing again that politicians are saying now and advocating now what we have been telling you will happen, as I said, for many, many years. Now, who is quote-unquote inspiring them now to say these things? The Welt wrote on March 7. Several AfD politicians are calling for Germany to be armed with nuclear weapons. And conscription is also essential. And then listen to this. This is what one of the AfD politicians is saying. If the US nuclear umbrella is missing, Europe must act on its own. If the US actually leaves NATO, Germany must take on the leading role in the alliance. Germany being the leader, the military leader of Europe, something which we have been telling you is going to happen based on biblical prophecy. Now people are talking about that possibility, which they would have never talked about before for many, many years. Die Tagesschau wrote on March 4, in view of the changing threat situation and the global alliance structures, CSU politician Florian Hahn, and of course the CSU is supposed to be part of the new government, is calling for more speed in the international and internal German debate about the reintroduction of compulsory military service. The first conscripts will have to walk through the barracks gates in 2025. This is this year. The chairman of the Bundeswehr Association is also in favor of starting compulsory military service this year. Approval for the reintroduction of compulsory military service also comes from the former Green Foreign Minister Joschka Fischer. Some of you might recall that name. Die Welt wrote on March 4 that Joschka Fischer said, all trust in US President Donald Trump has been destroyed. Germany must now become a military power. And then listen to this. He also calls for talks on extending the French and British nuclear umbrella to the whole of Europe. Europe is rearming itself. Germany is rearming itself. They are in the process of becoming a military power, a challenge to the United States, and it looks like the United States are completely and totally and utterly blind as to what is happening in Europe. But the Bible says it's going to happen, and it's going to end up in a war, a nuclear war between Europe under German leadership and the United States of America, and America is going to lose this war. Something we have been telling you and telling you and telling you for years. It's happening now. It's going to happen soon. If you are asleep, wake up, because this is prophesied, and God will see to it that his prophecies are going to be fulfilled. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.